Welcome back to the PMR podcast. My name is Mitch. I'm an addict alcoholic. This is episode 70. Very, very, very excited for today, man.
Yeah, welcome back. I'm Andrew, alcoholic, addict, just fucking pumped for today, man. It's going to be a special episode. Back in the studio. I'm
That's
jealous.
Right. Yeah, we're back in the studio. Got my boy here today, Johnny, who goes by Dietsch in the club scene. He's a producer out here making really dope music, and he's also a sober member. So I met him last week through a mutual friend. It's always wild how stuff like that happens, but very excited to chop it up with you today, man.
Hell yeah, it's awesome to be here. I appreciate you guys having me on today.
Yeah, of course. And you hit me up, and I was talking with Amy as our mutual connect, and I know her through her sister, who I swam with at Denison in college. So it's just weird how like all those things kind of trail together. But we were talking, and you were kind of talking about how you wanted to share, your story, and we'd love to hear from you and hear your story and where you're at today,
Absolutely, for sure. Well, just grateful to be here, to be on this awesome podcast. I appreciate y'all. This is awesome. And I mean, kind of crazy how we got connected, man, just like through my manager, like small world to say the least. So I'm just grateful. But yeah, in terms of my story and like, where I'm at now, like, it's just kind of wild to think about like where I was a couple years ago, because especially like with the music and stuff, there's no way I thought I would be where I'm at today, with just all the shit I've been through. It's hard for me to process and think about it sometimes, but I'm really grateful for everything that's happened, because if I didn't get sober and if I didn't discover music, like I just wouldn't be the same person I am today, for sure. I just, I don't know where the fuck I would be without music or sobriety, So, but yeah, kind of a little bit about my background and my story. I grew up in like Pacific Palisades, kind of the Santa Monica area, beautiful hometown. And I'm really grateful. It's just, I have an amazing family. And, that area is just really beautiful. And, I mean, growing up, I had a pretty normal childhood, went through school, played baseball in high school, was nothing like out of the ordinary, to say the least. And, with baseball though, like, sophomore year was brutal, cause a lot of shit happened. I had like experienced like depression for the first time. And I kind of was like, I didn't really know how to deal with that. Mm-hmm. But at that time, I didn't go to drugs or alcohol yet, at least. And so I just kind of found other ways to deal with it at the time. And baseball was my music back then. So that's the only thing. Like, I basically like, I played JV for like 3 years and never, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if this is fully true, but I'm pretty sure how my coach ran the program back then was like if with varsity baseball, I'm blanking out here. Hold on.
You're good.
You can't be if you aren't a junior and you're playing varsity baseball, then you're cut, basically.
Oh,
so like it was one of those things to where like I somehow was a junior playing JV, and I got injured my sophomore year, and it was just I didn't feel great. It was kind of demoralizing, because there were like freshmen playing more time than me on like JV, and I just was like, I fucking suck, like, it was tough. It was rough. I think high school was a big learning curve for me, but I also I was like, it was very demoralizing with,
that.
I just, and it definitely took a hit to my ego. And then, at the time, we signed a contract saying like it was basically like, when you play on this team, like, you don't drink or do drugs. And I took that very seriously. My morals and values were like, I can't break that contract. And so like, there was a situation like where I went to a party and like, one of the players' parents like offered me alcohol. I was like, no. And it just turned into this whole thing to where like, you know, one of the coaches asked me, hey, like, did you drink at the party? And it just turned into this whole fiasco where like, I thought the coach told on the other coaches and he didn't. And then like, I told the player I told on, and it was a shit show. It was not good. And I got bullied a lot, and it just kind of, my high school baseball experience was very interesting. For sure. I learned a lot about like my morals and my values. And so my senior year comes around, and I play on the varsity team, and I have like a below 1 ERA, like through 40 innings. So like it was really cool to like be able to do that, because like I never thought I'd be able to play on the varsity team. So that experience for me like gave me a lot of confidence moving forward. So like, cause I went that summer, like I went to Alabama and like trained with my buddy, and like, it was a wild experience. It was like, we were training in like 100-degree weather and the humidity was like 80%, like throwing up, like, it was wild. But I'm really grateful for my high school experience and everything I learned, cause it just taught me a lot about who I was as a person, and just not being afraid to stick up to my morals and my values, because it's like, if I did handle that situation differently, I think my life would be completely different, you know? So I wouldn't trade anything, because sometimes I'm like, oh, fuck, I wish I never was honest and just lied about that situation. But then I think about it and I'm like, I wouldn't change anything, because it's just how it happened, you know? So, so fast forward, to that summer, I'm going to college, 2017, and I was desperate to play college baseball, in the sense of like, I didn't think there was any other option. Like, all I wanted was, at the time, like when I was a senior, I was like, damn, like I can squat, like 350 and all this stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna go play pro baseball, because like, if I could do this in like 1 year, then like whatever. And then the only offer I got was from Menlo College, which it's a great college, great small college. But when I signed, the coaches just left. So it was just it was a shit show. I was like, it was unfortunate. So I played on the club team there, and it was okay, but it was like a pay to play thing. And I was like, oh fuck, like, I was like, damn, I thought I was, and then, I didn't even seek any other options and think about like community college or junior college. I kind of just was like, let's just go for it with Menlo. And I think that's kind of a regret I had, is I didn't like patiently like look at my other options, and like, I think I just jumped the gun really fast. But again, wouldn't change any of that, because I wouldn't be, so. Right. So, with that and that whole situation, I kind of let that, when the coaches left, I used that as an excuse for me to just kind of give up. So when that happened, simultaneously, I just, every weekend, honestly, even in the weekdays, I just started drinking. I just started like partying, like, because I didn't really party in high school. So for me, I was like, oh my God, like I can smoke weed on a Wednesday night and sleep in and not go to class. Like, I did fine grades wise there, but I was addicted to like going to Stanford and like partying with all those kids, and like just getting that satisfaction of like feeling that fuel of alcohol and the drugs in social situations. I don't know what, that feeling was addicting, dude. Like every weekend, that's all I looked forward to. I didn't have any goals or aspirations other than to party. And like girls, like there was no there was no, like, it was fucked. Like, my goals and ambitions of baseball went out the window. All I wanted to do was just party. That was literally it. Like, I didn't even think about, you know, I was majoring in like business at the time at the school, but I like just, I don't know, I was getting high a lot, drinking a lot, and it's just all I wanted to do, you know, and it's just wild to like think about, you know, my parents are like paying for college, even though I got a scholarship, which was great. Like, I just didn't even like occur to me that like, oh, I should take school seriously because my parents are providing, you know, for me to get an education. And I just really took it for granted because I really didn't think of the long-term goal of like, you know, what I want to do after. All I was like in the moment of like, yeah, I just want to go out, get fucked up and have fun, and then repeat it. You know, there's just no, yeah. And like, there was one night, like I went to a Stanford party and like somehow I was dancing and I slipped on the floor and like went crashing down, and I like broke a bunch of my teeth. It was like full force on the ground, and I don't know how I didn't break my nose or break my face, but luckily I got my teeth fixed. But I still kept going. I didn't really care. I just was like, whatever, you know. Oh, it's normal. I'm like, bro, that's not. So, you know, and then I just was like, I at a certain point I was like, I think genuinely speaking, Menlo was a great school, but I wanted to have like a true college experience at that point because I was like, it was a little small. So then I ended up touring a bunch of different schools, and I ended up going to TCU, and that I thought that was going to solve the issue. I was like, you know what? Like once I get into a fraternity, I'll be fine. It just made it worse in terms of, you know, like going to a bigger school and like, you know, the academics are really prestigious at TCU now. I mean, even back then I was struggling to just get accepted because senior year I got accepted to TCU, but like it was hard to get readmitted. And then, you know, I went, rushed, got a bid to Sigma Chi, and you know, but that's when I started to learn how to DJ. It was the summer of 2018. It was like so wild. I was like, oh, I'll just like pick up a board because like my boys were DJing, and I was so like when I first started, like I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, which makes sense, you know. It was just I was just having fun, spinning on the decks, you know. I was like, what is going on? And then I started like mixing at some bars and stuff there. But my drinking and my using just was crazy, dude. Like every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 2018. Fall of 2018, spring of 2019, that's all I looked forward to, man. Like I was in classes just thinking about when can I go out and get fucked up and try to get girls. Like there was no, you know, sometimes I cared about my academics, but I really just took it for granted, man. Like I didn't really care about all the other stuff besides the partying. I just was really addicted to the partying, really addicted to that lifestyle, the Greek lifestyle. And you know, I kind of was like, this is what all the cool kids are doing, so I want to fit in. I want to feel like, because I think my whole life I just didn't feel like I fit in. So I think simultaneously it's just like, you know, I thought transferring to TCU and I thought getting into DJing was going to solve all my issues. I that's literally what it was. Is I was just like, you know, Menlo's a small school. I do feel like I'm a part of it, but I don't feel part of it enough. You know, like I did like have kind of a crew there, but I've never really had like a crew my whole life. I've never really had a clique per se, but you know, more so like at Menlo, it was, you know, I had some homies and I had some great times, but I wanted more. I just was like, I want the big parties. Like I want the hot girl. Like I just wanted to feel like the man. And so that's like why I kind of, you know, TCU had a beautiful campus and I was like, great. But you know, simultaneously all I'm thinking about is like how epic it's going to be once I'm in the fraternity. And, you know, it was really fucked up thing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I think even most dudes who are in Greek life are not thinking like that. They're just normal dudes, you know, and they'll get fucked up, but they'll go back to their normal life. And like for me, I was just super obsessed with like trying to just fulfill something within my heart, because it was like, you know, I don't know. I just felt like something was wrong with me, and like the only way to fix it was by doing that stuff.
Yep.
And then by, you know, it was just a really bad cycle of continuously, it just got worse like throughout that year. Like the first year I got like a 1.0 GPA, got put on academic probation, and I kind of just like played dumb. Like I knew like in order to get good grades, you just gotta, I just wasn't disciplined, and all I wanted to do was just fucking, yeah, it was a shit show. It was. And simultaneously though, you know, if all of that didn't happen, you know, I wouldn't have found my passion for DJing. So I am grateful I picked up DJing at the time. I did start to get more gigs, and I started to get involved in like the bar scene, started DJing more parties. And then like I kind of realized, I was like, if I really wanted to get to the next level, I have to learn how to produce, right? My own music. And, you know, so school and the academics go on, and I'm just, you know, I come home for winter break and it was pretty chill, but you know, I got fucked up on occasion. There were periods of time where like I didn't really crave alcohol and I could go without it for, you know, a couple days or weeks. But yeah, when I came back, I just went hard again, you know? And, you know, and then, yeah, fast forward to the summer of 2019, man, I just, you know, I was back and forth between Fort Worth and my hometown. And I just kept smoking weed, kept drinking. And like the last 3 weeks before the last day I drank, basically like that last night, the last 2 nights I drank were the worst nights I experienced drinking. Like it was, we had rush events for our fraternity. And so I went, and it was just like a blur. Thinking about it is just like, it's like giving me flashbacks, because it's crazy. But I basically, you know, I went to the fraternity party and I was so stimulated, because it was like, you know, these rush events, it's just like a bunch of dudes, and it's just like super rowdy. So I was just like, you know, fuck yeah, like chugging beers. And I was just a shit show, dude. Like I was so fucking scared on the inside, because I was like, oh my God, I have such a tough schedule academically. I do not want to do this, you know, and I don't want to memorize. Like we had like some stuff to memorize in a fraternity. Like there was just like, I had like responsibilities to take care of, and I didn't want to do it. So I basically just put it off. And then we had these rush events, and I was like, it's fucking go time. So I just got it's probably the most fucked up I got drinking alcohol wise, for sure. I mean, there's probably other times too that I didn't remember as well. I didn't usually black out at all. I would like brown out, you know, that's what they call it. Never really blacked out, but yeah, that last night, man, I mean, the night before, you know, I just got fucked up, went back, ripped the bong, and then was with all my buddies. And I threw up on myself. And I was so ashamed, and I felt so embarrassed. And I literally like could not function to get up and like go clean it was awful. And I literally was like telling myself, okay, tomorrow night, I'm taking it easy. I'm not going to do that. And sure enough, the next night, I go wild, dude. Like I had some of my fraternity brothers telling me, dude, like you were scaring these rushies. Like, and I was like, what? I was like, no way. Like, I'm the most chill dude on the planet. And like, I'm clearly like, so something that night, I don't know what happened. I just, you know, after the Rush event was over, it was like a couple of me and the boys were just hanging out, and there were some chicks there. And I just remember there was a moment in time that night where something just snapped in my mind, because I just felt super alone, and I saw a bunch of the dudes with chicks, and I just was like, something happened. And it kind of brings me back to, it was fucked up, but like when I would drink and go out at TCU, and even Menlo too, like I always expected when I drink that I'm going to get a girl. Like it was just like this weird thinking to where like, you know, once I drink the alcohol, then the next goal is to like sleep with a chick, you know? And if that didn't happen, like I'd get really upset and like angry at myself, and I would cry. It was bizarre. Like I would cry, and I would be like, what the fuck is going on here? Like this feels weird. Like, why am I getting upset? And I kind of had that same feeling that last night I drank, but it was an accumulation of just a bunch of shit. Like I was hitting the worst low I've ever experienced in my life. So without telling anyone, I like started sulking, and I ordered an Uber home. I went home, and it was just, I don't know. I felt like it talks in the book and the other stuff, like, you know, the quicksand buried us, that whole thing. You know, I came home, I walked in, I see all my roommates, and that moment right there, like I didn't hesitate. I just went in my kitchen, and I grabbed a knife, because the alcohol was telling me, dude, like you're not what you think you are anymore, buddy. Like, and it was really scary, because I was like, at this point I was super intoxicated, and that was not me. That was like the devil, or I don't know what the fuck it was. And you know, I basically, before I like confronted my roommates, I like took a picture in my group chat in my fraternity, the group me, and like sent it to them. I just like put the knife to my wrist, sent it to my group me fraternity, and then I put the phone down, and that was like my cry for help, because I was like, I don't know how to ask for help. And I had like therapists throughout college and stuff, and it was great, but clearly something was not working, because I had other cries for help where I would tell, you know, my fraternity like, like I'm gonna end this shit, because I just didn't know how to properly ask for help. So I was scared. So that was the only way at the time I thought that's the right way to do it. So once I did that, then it was like my roommates were like, dude, why do you have the knife? What the fuck is going on? And I basically was just like, you know, I don't remember exactly what I said, because it was such a blur, but it was just like, you know, the alcohol was basically telling me like, dude, there's no point in this shit anymore, you know? And like, I knew I wasn't gonna actually like do it and end my life, because I've had ideations of doing that multiple times, but I knew I wasn't going to do that. I just think I was like, I need help. And my only way of asking for help in that moment was basically signaling to my roommates like, yo, like I need to like go to the emergency room. Like, so they called the police, called the cops, and then all my fraternity brought, like a bunch of them came over, and I still felt so alone, dude. Like I just was, I don't know, like I felt like I was the only person in that room, oddly enough. And so, yeah, then I got transported to the Fort Worth Medical, and I was in the mental ward. It was like the seventh. It's infamous in Texas. They call it like the 7th floor or something like that. So I was there for like, 18 hours awake. It was just wild, and I literally got rid of all the booze in my body. I felt like I was on like 8,000 drugs, Mm-hmm. And then I got sent to a detox, and then From the detox, I went to Rehab, Casa Colina in Waxahachie, Texas. And then I went to sober living for like a couple months in, where was it? Austin, Texas, Alpha 180. So, you know, I luckily decided like I want to do this because my parents were like, you know, you don't have to, but like we'd love for you to go and try it out. And so I was like, I need to do this for myself. And luckily, you know, that last night I drank was so fucking scary, dude. But yeah, I mean, shout out to Casa Colina and the sober living I went to, because like if I didn't go there, I don't think I'd be sober. So because from that, it just helped me build a foundation, and I just realized like I'm never going to be able to do well in music or teach myself how to produce or any of that if I don't get sober. Because part of the problem was I would just smoke weed, and like I wouldn't want to, like I'd get too lazy. So, you know, I'm grateful. I now have 4 years, like 4.5 years, which is fucking, you know, thank God. Right. It's but, yeah, no, I know it's wild. I mean, like I'm really grateful because there was a high chance I could have easily just gone back to that. And I remember like getting letters in rehab, and like some of my fraternity brothers were like, we'll have a bunch of cold beers waiting for you. And I was like, I don't think they get it. Like, I'm not going back. And it was just wild because God, rehab was great. I'm so grateful for all those experiences because it really helped me just connect to like my spirituality more and all that, and kind of realize like there's more to life than drugs and alcohol, you know? And it was hard for me because when I got sober, I still had all these bad habits, and I was like, getting sober is the first part, you know, there's way more to it than just staying sober. But, you know, I went back to TCU after I got sober in the summer of 2020. Because, I got sober August 24th, 2019. So the following year, I went back and I finished my degree in criminal justice. Super random. I don't know. I switched around majors and I was like, I'll just major in criminal justice. So random. So, yeah, I ended up going back, being in those same environments, and managed to stay sober without a program. It was wild. Like, I was in the program for a while, then kind of wanted to do my own thing, and luckily have still stayed sober, and now recently got back into it. But like, I think if I could go back, maybe I probably shouldn't have gone back to TCU, but luckily I stayed sober, finished my education, started to learn how to make my own music, and and then like, you know, got better at producing, and, you know, started doing bigger gigs, and then moved back to LA like in 2022. And this past year has been just the most wild experience I could dream of, just in terms of everything happening music wise. I'm just really grateful because I started like the Dietsch project kind of as a joke, because I have another project called Emerald Gates, which is like my passion project. It's more like bass music, very like emotional, cinematic, kind of just glitchy, weird sampled bass music. But Dietsch is more of like a dance kind of house bass project. And I started it for fun, and because I love house too. I love bass and house. And I started that. I threw like my Miracle Maker remix as a joke on SoundCloud, and it just exploded. And then like some DJs found it, and like Diplo found like my Inner Bloom edit. Like there was just like a bunch of stuff that happened. It's crazy, right? And there's just a bunch of stuff that happened. I was able to play like Time and Exchange, and I'm just like really grateful because none of this would happen if I didn't get sober, like at all. So I'm just grateful to be here on the pod today. I appreciate you guys. And that's kind of like my story, you know, and I'm just, I'm really blessed to be sober, really blessed to be able to pursue music and make music and create stuff. Cause for me, that's like what is a huge part of my sobriety. So,
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So of course.
Yeah, that was really cool. I really enjoyed listening to you. It's really wild. I was like looking at Andrew when you were at the end there, how much our stories mirror each other. Because I haven't shared like everything with you to this point yet, but pretty similar. I left school my sophomore year of college, went to rehab, did outpatient, waited 9 months, came back to school sober, didn't really work a program, and did 3 more years. Like I redid sophomore year, so did sophomore, junior, and senior year sober in and out of the program. So when you were saying that, I was like, that's so wild. And we also were late on being, out of the program, back in the program. In early recovery. So, and 4 years is beautiful, bro. All that we ask is that you don't drink or use, you know what I mean? And like, obviously, like you noted, there's a lot more to sobriety than just getting sober,
Yeah.
And as we go in our recovery too, it's like, for me, it's been vital for me to double, triple, quadruple down on my recovery, where I'm at now. But I relate to so much of your story. It makes a lot of sense to me. Not feeling a part of, and what was one of the things that I loved that you said, talking about how, like being in a room, I like to say like, I could be in a room full of like family and friends and feel alone, you know? And that's like, that's me, that's a me problem,
No, totally.
Yeah. So
the self-pity parties and all that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
totally.
I love how you were at that first college and then you were like, it's too small, I think if I go to TCU and join a frat at TCU, I think that'll work.
I know. I know.
Like,
wild. My thinking, I don't know, man. I was obsessed with, I remember, this is wild. I remember when I was at Menlo and I would go on YouTube and I would literally look up like day in the life of like being in a frat.
Yeah.
Like, it was wild. And I just had this obsession of if I'm in a fraternity, then I'm chilling. Like, and it just, that's the upset, like,
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I remember in like middle school looking at the high schoolers, like the cool group of guys. And I was like, I just need, and I watched them, saw what they did. Like I relate to like, using like drugs, alcohol, the party scene, the group, like getting with the girls, all that stuff, like was directly tied to my image that I needed, to feel validated or to feel important or to feel seen, and I needed it, I remember like literally, like you're saying, you pulled up the YouTube video, like studying, bro. I was like, that's how, this is crazy, bro. I would like, that's how he holds a cigarette. I'm gonna hold a cigarette like that.
I know, dude,
like it's crazy what we'll do to try to like fit into that image or like be something that we we really aren't.
Yeah, I mean, I just had this obsession of wanting to become someone I wasn't, because I think what I've learned now, and it's like, up to this point of being 4, I've learned so much. Like every year in sobriety, like there's a new theme, and I think the theme this year I'm really starting to understand is, I think even when I was sober, I still was trying to be someone else. And I was trying to be the cool cat because I just was so used to people telling me I'm too much. And girls telling me I come off too strong, because I'd like, if I like a girl, I tell her, I'm just a very straight up person, right? Like I don't like to fucking play the games or any of that. And I know like in college, like, the recommended approach is like, oh, like you wait 5 days. And I just, at a certain point I was like, fuck, I'm not going to do that. Like, I was like, I'm just a very straight up person. And I was like, if I like you, I like you. And like, it would just, I get really frustrated. Like, I know this is like a side tangent, but I'll bring it back to the topic I'm basically talking about. Sure, and it's basically like, I kind of realized, especially with girls, I would try being someone else I wasn't because I was so afraid of getting rejected. So I would play the games and do all that. And I just realized I was so fucking miserable. And then I realized I was doing that in a lot of other categories in my life. And I realized like this year, especially, I was like, I'm not going to try to be someone else I'm not anymore. And more so, just be Johnny, just be who I am at the end of the day. Like at the end of the day, I'm just a huge, giant goofball that has a shit ton of energy. People are like, dude, are you on crack? I'm like, no, I'm just myself.
Yeah.
And like, I think for a long time I was really ashamed of being the guy who was too much energy. And I was like, oh, you know what, if I just change myself, then I can get. And I was just like, you know, that sounds miserable. I didn't become sober to fucking try to change. Like, I was like,
Right.
you know, I'm not gonna do that, you know. And I just want to be myself and surround myself with good fucking people at the end of the day, you know. Because I for a long time I think I've always been myself, but I just think there have been pockets in my life where I ran away from myself. And I just think, you know, I've come to the point now where it's like, you know, it's like, why would I want to be with someone why would I want to be with a girl and like pretend to be someone else, you know? And it's like same thing with anything. It's, I gotta be myself. And if someone doesn't like me, that's okay. Not everyone has to like me. Not everyone's going to like my music. Like, you know, and I've just learned over time, like, I can't control people, places, and things. And there's outcomes that I'm not going to be able to control. It's just be Johnny, do the best I can, and just, and, you know, be of service. And yeah, like,
and you're taking a great step in, by just sharing your story so openly and honestly. You know, it doesn't get more authentic than that, right? You know?
I appreciate that, man. This is like my first podcast ever, like doing this. Actually, I've done a couple before, I think, but I was scared. You know, I always have this fear, like, because now I'm starting to put a ton more. Me and Amy are going to put a ton more content out soon on the Dietsch page. But like, I've just, for a long time, I was scared even doing that. Like the social media, I was like, fuck, people are going to judge me. And I was like,
who cares, bro?
Yeah, it's like, it's at this point, it's like, this is the first step, you know? And like, the thing is do I want to live the rest of my life in fear and have fear control me? Or do I just want to put myself out there and basically not give a single fuck about, because the thing is I can either live my life and think about, oh fuck, like people are going to care about me. And that's the thing, pursuing art, pursuing what I want to do, like pursue music full-time, DJ, it is scary. Like it's a career of unknowns. Like it's not a salary-based job. It's very like, you know, and yeah. So I mean, for me, like, I know I love this and it's what I want to do, and hopefully I can do it full time someday. But you know, it's what brings me genuine joy. That, like, when I go on stage and I fucking play in front of people, for me, that drug, the adrenaline of giving people the good vibes, that's why I do it, man. Like, playing in front of people and, like, you know, the fame or whatever, it's cool, but nothing beats just showing people why I fucking love doing music. And, you know, people are going to judge me no matter what. They're going to be like, why is he so crazy on stage? Why does he sweat so much? And it's like, you know, like, fuck it. Like, that's just who I am. And, you know, I'm just no longer gonna be afraid of being myself anymore.
Well, it's like, bro, I gotta get you in here, Andrew.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
like,
brother.
I was like, dude.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, Andrew and I always say, you know, with our pod, it's not what we have some lit podcast like that's like bringing in 1 million views and stuff. All we're trying to do is, I know it helps Andrew and I doing it, and it usually helps one other person, you know, and that's kind of like where our goal is at. And so in that perspective, like, that helps us a lot, because it's like you can get caught up in like, I have to make this content and this that, and that takes it away. You know, we had an experience with that, and that took it away. You know, like, continue to be authentic to what you enjoy. You know, there's no timeline. There's no, like, people get famous or whatever at like 40. You feel me? So you're still, like you said, you're about to turn 25 with 4 years sober. That's a miracle, right? Is it not? So take a breath too. You know what I mean? I think you're doing. I've listened to your music. It's really good. You know, just keep doing what you like to do.
Yeah, I appreciate you, dog.
Yeah, well, let's hear from the boy over here.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you guys don't owe me an apology. I'm 3,000 miles away, just like listening to knowledge get dropped. So I wasn't in any rush to fucking interrupt it, bro. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Mitch, I caught that look you gave me when Johnny mentioned that, like, he went and did went and did treatment and then went back to school and didn't work a program. Like I was like, man, that's Mitch's fucking story to a T.
Exactly.
Which is crazy. This is like kind of, I don't know what you believe in terms of God or higher power type of stuff, but like that's that type of, that type of force at work. Like there's a reason that like you guys were brought together, that you guys had that connection, and that you're sitting in that chair and, telling your fucking story today. But yeah, bro, like I mean, right off the rip, I have a lot of things that I could identify with. Like first and foremost, being like a really like a struggling athlete. Like that was my story. That was probably the initial source of a lot of anxiety that I've had. Like you talk about being like on a JV team as a junior and thinking about like, hey, I got to go play baseball in college, bro. Like I didn't even consider the fact that like I might not have to be an athlete in college and that would be okay. Like I thought, I was like, I have to be a college lacrosse player or like my life's a failure. Like everyone else is doing it. Like I need to go play. So like I got, I definitely identified with like when you went and played at Menlo, just because like you thought you had to go play baseball. Like even though there were other options that were probably better for you. Like I ended up at Denison, as Mitch knows, and I wouldn't trade like going to Denison, but I tried to be an athlete when, that really wasn't probably wasn't my best choice. Like I was already hurt from a lot of injuries. You talk about injuries, I've had them. That's a big part of my story, a big reason why I got addicted to drugs. But was because of those injuries and those surgeries I had. But I mean, and then it's fucking crazy. Like you joined, you went to TCU, you joined the same fraternity that I was in at Denison, which is crazy.
Oh, and Hope, brother.
Yeah. I was gonna say that shit right away, but I was like, man, I'm gonna keep that in the vault. That's fucking crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah, and you're talking about like fucking reciting things. I'm fucking having flashbacks to the Jordan Standard and all this bullshit.
Yeah,
I hear you. I hear you, bro. I was right on that same wave. I have to ask, do you know a dude named Harry Larson?
Harry Larson.
He was a SIG at Denison and he transferred to TCU.
Oh, no way.
And he's probably if you graduate, if you're, what are you? You're about to turn 25?
About to turn 25, graduated in 2022 and took a gap year.
So he's 2 years older than you. He would be 2 years older than you. But he was hanging around in that house. And
wow.
Like, I don't know if he officially joined, but yeah, I know it's a big fraternity down there. It's just the connections that I heard during this story were fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, back, just to ramble on a little bit more, like I think you put the way that I felt in college, like you put it really eloquently. Like you gave a good voice to it. Like I felt, and I'm glad you talk about like our fucking romantic pursuits, because that was a fucking disaster for me, man. Like there's a big reason, a huge reason I felt insecure about myself.
Yeah.
And I felt like I needed to get loaded to do anything. Was because I had no confidence in me, in Andrew. I needed to get that confidence and that feeling of like being a part of something from doing drugs and drinking. That was the only way that I felt like I was going to be part of a group, or that I was going to be, able to, hold a conversation or seen as a cool guy or whatever. Like when I was, talking to a girl or whatever it was. So,
yeah.
I got that. I feel that like very deeply, that like longing to be part of something. And the crazy thing is like the more I drank, the more I did drugs, I wanted that, like, feeling a part of something. But every time I drank and did drugs, it just drove me further away from everyone. Like I ended up alone. I ended up wanting to be alone. I ended up feeling sorry for myself or bad for myself. I fucking left a lot of parties, a lot of after parties, a lot of whatever, like angry.
Yeah, no,
like because I didn't, I didn't have the girl, or I didn't have this, or I didn't whatever, bro.
That's yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that.
Angry, bro. I'd be fucking pissed at everyone else, bro. I was wicked resentful of people who had like what I deemed as better luck than I did. So I felt that like big time, and I didn't get sober in school. And I didn't go through all that, and I got it a little bit later on when I was 23. But I applaud you for doing that, and it's crazy. Like we just had a guy on last week that got sober, and then he went to fucking Burning Man like 6 months later.
Yeah, Evan's the boy.
He knows Evan. How crazy is that?
I know Evan, dude. It's wild, right?
That's fucking wild. But I did want to like talk about like, obviously, like we get sober, we want to find a passion that like gives us fire. You know what I mean? Like makes us want to be alive. Like I think Mitch has found something, and we it changes, but like. For me, like it sounds like for you that is really, your music and making music and like bringing that to people. It's not about fame and fortune and everything, but you want to show it to people. You want to like, be a part of bringing the energy up and sharing what you've made with like people who will fuck with it. Like that's cool as shit.
Thank you.
But I do want to like, you're in an interesting fucking environment. To be sober, like and I think a lot of people who listen, and for me too, it helps. Like, how does that work? Like, how does being sober? You know what I mean? How does that all work out?
Yeah, that's a great. I appreciate you, dog. Yeah, that's a great question. In order to navigate the scene, you just got to find the right homies who are really passionate about the music, and that shit just takes time because it's just more so. I think like I gravitate towards people who are there genuinely for the music. It's more so like it's been hard to navigate the scene for sure because you just are meeting so many different people and you're like, how do I deal with this? I think for me, because I've been in situations to where, there's just people fucking taking shots and they're doing drugs like right in front of me, and people offer me alcohol and I'm like, I'm good, like I'm sober. And like one time this like DJ like repeatedly asked me like, why don't you drink? And like he wouldn't stop asking me, and I was like, dude, I just because it doesn't work for me. Like and I'm not afraid of telling people my story, but I think I honestly think for I guess someone like me, the way the industry is right now, I genuinely think it's good for me because it really helps me navigate who I fuck with in the sense of, you're just going to come across and meet so many people. You kind of just have to block the noise out. Like when I go to DJ and when I go to these things, I remind myself, why am I here? Am I here to boost my ego and like fucking do all that shit, or am I here to genuinely, I'm here for the music and I'm here to connect with people? Those are like my two, especially moving forward and since I've been doing this, like that is very, very important for me because if that goes out the window, then then I just start thinking about like my ego starts getting involved and it's fucked, and I mean, it's definitely hard to navigate the industry because of the amount of drugs that are being used. But I think the cool part is from that navigation, you're able to find the people that fuck with the music. Because I'm telling you, there are people that go to festivals and, good, true-hearted DJs and producers out there. Navigating it is just very interesting for sure.
Well, it's always going to come back to like being able to control what you can control. You mentioned that earlier, control the controllables. As long as you're being authentic to what you're doing, you're going to draw the crowd that vibes with your authenticity. And I think it's like what an amazing opportunity to be a testament of our program and sobriety you have, you know, in terms of like carrying yourself in a way that we aim to carry ourselves on a daily level, you know, and it seems like you're doing that. And you'll be surprised how things kind of unfold for you that way. You know, I've been surprised, and I think it's like, I think similarly to Evan from last week, like, being a party coach is kind of counterintuitive to somebody in recovery. At least it was to me. Right. Being a DJ is kind of counterintuitive to me in terms of being like sober. You know what I mean? So both of you guys are both doing things that haven't historically been meshed together, and that's really, really cool. So like you have an opportunity to change people's perspectives and minds. You know what I mean? And show that. I
appreciate that, man. I think my ultimate goal for both of my projects is really to just show people, like, I guess here it is. Like I always say this because I think it's really important. I don't judge anyone who does drugs or drinks alcohol at any of the shows I play, because I don't have a right to judge someone who does that. That's not my responsibility or issue when it comes to that. Like, by all means, have fun. But I guess my whole goal is what I want to show people is, hey, you don't necessarily need to use those things to have a good time. You can use the music instead of using your phone, drugs, or alcohol to fulfill that feeling you want, you know? And so for me, it's like the whole goal of why I do that is to just kind of give off that energy and just show people like, dude, you know, you can fucking just have fun, let loose. 'Cause I think that's what, you know, EDM should be at the end of the day. And I think, like, the industry has shifted, like, in more of like a too cool to, just kind of like a too cool for school type vibe, in some situations. But I think, like, I don't know, for me, that's what I just try to do at the end of the day is show people like, yo, I'm Dietsch. And I just fucking love doing this, you know, and I love just getting like rowdy on the decks with like a Red Bull and just going crazy, you know, because for me, that adrenaline and showing people like, you know, you can have an awesome time without the drugs or the alcohol. I think it gives some people, if I can help like one person that night, like that's exactly. A win. Yeah, that's a win, you know, and yeah, man. I mean, I'm really grateful for sobriety and music, because without those two things, I don't know where the fuck I would be, man. You know, and I'm just, yeah.
It's really cool to hear like somebody with a really authentic love of something. You know what I mean? Like, I can tell I'm fucking 3,000 miles away. I've never met you in person, whatever. Like, you're on a screen. I can still tell, like, sitting here in fucking Boston, Massachusetts, like, dude, that you have like there's an energy about you when you start thinking about music and making music, and like, that's real. And I think like sometimes people get this idea like that drugs and alcohol, like, it's gonna enhance our experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for
like,
sure.
Oh, dude, you can't go to the show and like not do acid or not do Molly or not do cocaine or whatever the fuck it is. Like, but like, I think in these cases, like, at least for people like us, whenever I went and full disclaimer, like, I've never been like deep into EDM or anything, but I've been to shows and I've been to concerts.
Totally.
And, like, I don't know if you guys are like, you know, kind of like agree with this shit, but when I was using and I would go to that shit, like, I didn't give a fuck about the music. I wanted to get fucked up. Like, I wanted to, I would go as it would just be the place that I was going to do drugs that night. Really. Like, and that's, you know, being sober now and having been, you know, to other, you know, events, concerts, things of that nature. Like, I'm like, oh shit, like, this is actually what people enjoy. the music and like making a connection with the guy who's performing. I have a, you know, my girlfriend is huge into this genre of music. Like she
Love that. Love
goes,
that.
she's like, she's huge. Her favorite performer, her favorite musician is Subtronics.
Oh my God. That
Like
dude is crushing it. It's insane.
she's huge. She loves, you know, festivals, all that type of stuff, right? And you know, and I'm sure like maybe in the past, whatever, she partook in whatever, you know, drugs, alcohol, whatever. But, you know, since being with me and even before, like she'll go and like to EDC and other things. And she was just at this thing in Philly that you might know of called like Hijinks
Oh
or
yeah,
something. I don't know.
yeah. No, yeah, it's a big one.
This is fucking foreign to me. I have no like, dude, I listen to like bluegrass and fucking folk music. So
I love that. That's sick though. I love that.
But she, you know, I'd be like, oh, so like, you guys, like, how do you guys, like, kind of just like nonchalantly ask her, so like, oh, like, so how you going to Philly? Like, are you like bringing shit there, or are you gonna try to find someone? Like, because it's like in my head, I'm like, there's no way. There's like, she's just like doing this shit sober or whatever. And she's like, what do you mean bringing stuff? I'm like drugs and like party drugs. She's like, I don't like, she's like, I go to these things because I enjoy the music. And I'm like,
hell
what
yeah,
the fuck? And it's cool. Like that's, now I see, you know, and it's hard to switch that mindset like that I have from active addiction. That's like, oh, like, of course everyone's on drugs, but like you just made that, you know, even more clear to me. Like as a sober guy performing, like you can tell the people who are actually vibing with your music,
yeah,
versus the people who are just there, like, you know, to use.
Yeah.
So it's really refreshing to hear like, yo, we can be cold ass sober, like, and be fucking going crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and that's cool as shit, you know?
No, I mean, no, you hit, I love that. You hit the nail on the head. I think, yeah, dude, this is a really good fire topic, I think, because damn, dude, that was fun. That was really good. I don't have a lot of words. I guess it's one of those things that, you know, I think a lot of people associate EDM with drugs, and it's like, oh, like in order to listen to this music, like I need to fucking take an acid or a Molly or whatever drug it is that you like. And I think, you know, I remember I went to a San Holo show in Dallas when I was sober, and I don't know what year it was, but I think it was probably like 2-3 years into my sobriety. And like, I almost cried like watching the show because I just felt all the emotions that the music was doing. And I was like, this is what it's about, because, I think we're scared. I think the drugs kind of hide our emotions. And like, especially as men, I think we're really afraid to express or share our emotions. And I think like, part of why I do music is to express my energy and my emotions into the songs. You know, like I think for me over time, I've started to realize like I can either not make the music I want to and put it out there and like try to be someone else I'm not, or make the music I really want to deep down and show people this is who I am. And, you know, I hope that some emotion is invoked from this track, you know. But I think it is scary to experience electronic dance music when you're sober, because it's like, holy fuck, you know, there's so much going on. But that's what's so beautiful about electronic dance music. Sorry. That's what's so beautiful about electronic.
It's a hard word.
God, it was. That's why electronic dance music is so powerful, in my opinion, because I feel like it's one of those, it's that type of music that can invoke so much emotion almost just from, it's something about like when I make it, dude, it's just, it's like a drug for me. Just being in the studio, making stuff and putting it out. Like I'm just love it. I fucking love it so much. Like I don't know what specifically it is. It's just the adrenaline of DJing and making music. I just want to impact people. That's like my ultimate goal, is to just help people, man. Like you can say, like, I know this sounds fucking corny, but who knows how many people you can impact just from a song.
It's not
like,
corny.
You know, like it is kind of crazy, but you know, I don't know. I don't want anyone to experience what I experienced with my drugs and alcohol. So, you know, if I can help someone through my music, then that's all I want at the end of the day, you know, and like no amount of shows or success is going to replace that feeling of just making someone feeling good through music instead of drugs and alcohol, you know. And props to all the homies that can go to a fucking show, take like a bar as Xanax, or like have one drink and chill out, you know, like that ain't easy to do. And there's people that normally use, but for me, I know I can't do that. So that's why I do music instead. And I'm just grateful. I'm just really grateful for everything, because I've just learned a lot. And like now that I'm about to turn 25, I'm just like, there's a lot of cool stuff to look forward to, you know?
Yeah.
So
amazing.
Yeah, a lot to look forward to, bro. Well, it's been great. It's been really, really great talking with you, man. I've really enjoyed listening to you, chopping it up. I look forward to like our friendship growing too. You know,
dude,
we've
fuck
been planning
yeah,
on
man.
trying to hit some meetings together.
Yes, sir.
It's so funny that we had Evan on last week, who kind of like prompted us to try to get out of our comfort zone and go to like shows and stuff, which I've been meaning to. I'm a big like house guy as well, and I used to go to them all the time. Last time I went was like a couple of years ago, so it would be sick to come like watch you perform. That'd
dude,
be badass,
yeah,
bro.
we'll get that locked in, bro. I'll
That's
get
right.
you VIP.
I appreciate that. But yeah, man, it's been beautiful to get to know you, hear from you, and I appreciate you sharing your story so openly and honestly. I know it's not an easy thing, and I'm sure you know, people listening will really appreciate it as well. So yeah, man.
Hell yeah. Well, I appreciate, thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. And this has been fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So, hell yeah.
100%.
Yeah, you might switch my perspective on electronic dance music. I might have to get out of my comfort zone and
That's right.
come out there and go to a show.
Hell yeah. It's fun. It's fun. It's a good time. It's cool.
That'd be dope.
So
100%. Well, this has been episode 70 of the PMR podcast. A lot of fun. This was a really, really good one. Appreciate you once again, and we'll keep coming back.